Filippo de Filippi, violin maker, 1810 to 1878. Filippi was an intellectual who experienced firsthand the historical events of the Italian Risorgimento which, after a great deal of bloodshed and multiple revolutionary movements, finally led to the long-awaited unification of Italy. He was born into a noble family from Velletri, a historic town located about 25 miles south of Rome, whose origins date back to the ancient civilizations of the Volsci and the Etruscans. Filippi held important positions and various honors at the papal court. For the many varied services rendered, he was appointed Knight of the Legion of Honor of France, Knight and Chancellor of the Jerusalem Order of Malta, and finally Commendator. Later stripped of all those honors during a time of political turmoil, and disappointed by the turn of political events, Filippi retired to private life, and from 1850 he decided to dedicate himself full-time and with total devotion to music, which had been the first passion of his youth. At this time, Filippi also began studying the art of luthery. Intellectuals of the day were driven by the intention of bringing back the ancient glories of the Italian violin-making school, often freely interpreting, sometimes in quite a naive way, the models of the great classical luthiers, especially those of Cremona and Brescia. The characteristic that these noble bourgeois makers had in common was that none of them were working for profit. They did not need to make a living for themselves, and instead would enter the profession for cultural reasons. It was for pleasure that Filippi, for example, dedicated himself to manufacturing bowed stringed instruments, and he would usually offer them as gifts to professors in Rome and other cities. Being a fast, studious learner, he immediately achieved an excellent standard of quality, comparable to that of the so-called professional violin makers. His favorite model was Brescian, which he interpreted freely and with a typically personal slant. The dimensions of his violin bodies are often on the large side.